Yeah, so all you guys out there are thinking the garage is your only space, right? Well, maybe it isn't even your space because you have all this other stuff in there. Can't get the car in there. Welcome back, Cindy Dole. This is Home Wizards, where we talk about ways to not only improve the spaces you call home, but to enjoy them more, one space at a time. And it is that space that I'm guilty of it. A lot of us just kind of, dump things in there. We're busy. Time moves on until suddenly it really has become like this war zone, this dumping ground. And then all of a sudden when you see a neighbor or a friend or you watch a show and you see how a garage can look so great and you go, wow, what's the matter with me? Well, this is what the folks with Garage Envy have done at the Pasadena Showcase House. And co-founder Jaime Dietenhoffer is here to walk us through. I've just been looking through these pictures. It looks more like a Lake Arrowhead cabin than a garage. So welcome, Jaime.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wow. So this is... Illustrate for everyone as we're seeing this and kind of visualizing it in our mind's eye. This is a 3-car garage in a 1920s home that Paul Williams had designed. So it has a lot of historic significance. What did it look like before?
Well, it was a little bit scary when we walked in. You couldn't see the floor. You couldn't even walk in the garage. I mean, it was years and years, decades of stuff in the garage, oil on the floor, cobwebs. I mean, you couldn't even see the design space. So it was a little bit daunting, but we got down to business on it.
But the ceilings were amazing.
Amazing. 20-foot ceilings. You had like that pitched frame. And great bones to the structure. I mean, the wood was still intact. There wasn't a lot of termite damage, which we were worried about when we first walked in there. But we wanted to keep it rustic and authentic and true to the architecture. Mm-hmm. And
so you decided to not only, kind of clean it up, but to really trick it out. And it's got what in there now?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's we have refrigerator, wine cooler, copper tops. So, buffed copper tops workstations, a welding station, like a state-of-the-art welding station, polished floors, flat screen TV, loft with a loft ladder, specialized lighting. So it was a really fun space to work with.
Is there a bed in there yet?
It could be. It could be. The loft, the high ceilings, that loft area, you could really do anything up there.
I mean, the man of the house is not leaving. You get the feeling.
Exactly. 600 square feet of space. So it was a feat.
Wow. Well, and so the flooring, which I got to see, it paint an idea for everyone as they're thinking about this. I mean, the flooring, there's so many great solutions for garage floors, and it looks like an interior home. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, typically the garage has a lot of, you put down a tile or you put down a coating system. This floor, the concrete, was actually in good condition other than a crack in there. So what we did is we ground down the floor with the diamond grinder and brought out the aggregate in the floor and polished it. So you see that in a lot in a lot of restaurants now. It's so easy to maintain. So we
very
wanted
earthy.
Very earthy.
But yet so rich and has multiple colors in there.
It marbleizes the floor. But the cool thing about it is that you don't have to worry about paints peeling or anything like that. You're just dealing with the concrete, and then we stain it, and then we seal it. So it kind of makes it have a rustic feel, authentic feel, but it's really easy to deal with.
And not too expensive?
No. I mean, you really get out of there between, $3 and $5 per square foot to do a floor that will never, it's a lifetime guarantee. You never have to deal with it again.
And then I see you have an Aston Martin?
Yeah. You were talking about James Bond earlier. This is the real James Bond car. So
that's not your car, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, so I'm not going to let it go. But it was a nice fit for the space.
So that car, if it had grease, although that car would probably never leak grease, if it did, that wouldn't damage that beautiful floor.
Exactly. The beauty of it is you have the oil, it drops, it cleans up with the water or an ammonia-based cleaner, and you don't have stains or anything else that's yucky like that.
Well, talk about, it's not only gorgeous and studly, and it's more like an entertainment zone to me than your typical garage, but you also have the practical parts. You have storage. You have a lot of storage. So there was no storage before?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of storage at all. It was either on the ground in boxes, some racking, but you can get storage that doesn't have to be like a generic cabinet. So we wanted to make sure we took advantage of the high ceilings, which a lot of garages do have, and people just don't look up. We're not able to park the cars in the garage. That's a lot of people have that same problem. So we wanted to free up the floor space and get cubic storage space against the walls and still make it look good.
So think vertically.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the way to go?
Yeah, you need a functional garage. You should be able to, in the beginning you want to see what you're going to use that space for, but in this instance we want it to be functional, but we still want it to be a space where you can open up those barn doors that we actually redid, and you could have it as an entertainment area.
Now, what about the temperature in this garage? Because our garage, you go out there and it's on a hot day it feels really hot, on a chilly day it's really cold, and it makes it inconvenient convenient to want to work in the garage if the weather isn't just so.
Sure.
So what did you do about that?
So we wanted to make sure that we properly ventilated the space. We took advantage. It used to have an old heater way up top, and we cleared that out and enhanced the venting in the area. And the place stays actually very warm typically, so we wanted to make sure there was enough circulation in that space and make sure that everything stayed at a good temperature-controlled environment.
And you also have great lighting.
Great lighting.
You've kind of held the vintage vibe true with. Talk about the fixtures that you have.
Yeah, it's very cool. We took, for the welding area, for example, we took acetylene tank tops, little caps, and converted them into pendant lights. So you don't have to have the generic fluorescent light, which is ugly anyways. You can take different materials, in this instance, the welding tank, and then convert them into any type of lighting fixture. It's really easy to do.
So you have lighting, you have great air ventilation, you have great flooring, and then you also painted a little bit. If I recall, there's some bright red in there. Yeah,
the cool thing what we did, we used eco-based paints and clear seals. So instead of going in and putting harmful paints in there, we enhanced some of the steel structure. We did a lot of welding and built a welding area with that steel, and we painted that red to make it pop a little bit. We didn't want it to be too dull. So that brought out some of that light too. But we also sanded down all of the wood in there. Beautiful wood. I know you saw it maybe halfway through. It was in that space, but you don't get that anymore. The way they use the wood in that space. So we sanded that down, did a nice soy-based clear coat. So it's not going to have that harmful off-gassing, but really brings out the color of the wood.
This is really, this is one of my favorite spaces at the Showcase House. Is this one of your favorite garages that you've done?
To tell you the truth, yeah. Typically people want it to either be sporty or tie into be very basic and just have storage.
Tools.
And this is really tying into the architecture. It's much more design-oriented, and it just feels good in there.
It sure does. Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to peel you out of there.
I know. It's a really neat space.
Although you have a new baby that might encourage you to go back home with your wife.
I forgot about that.
Wow. Well, I'm really looking forward to you giving us some more tips in a little bit on how we can do this to our home. But do you dare give us a price tag of what this kind of a thing would have cost the homeowners?
This would be anywhere from, I'd say, $25,000 to $40,000.
Yeah. You hear about a lot of the garages on average about $30 grand-ish. Right?
Yeah. The reality is that the garage space, the willingness to pay in the garage right now is less than a kitchen or anything else. So for a quarter of the cost that you would remodel a kitchen or any other space, you can get your garage done. This is 600 square feet, so this is the biggest room in the home.
Wow, really? And speaking of the cost, are you finding that the garage makeover investment is an investment that people are seeing a lot of value in, and as we're staying home, not selling our homes
exactly.
now?
Yeah, they're not flipping the home. So one, it's an unused area in the home, so you have lost equity that you need to capture, and they're turning them into office space, bonus rooms for kids, and it's an unused space in the home. So I think the return on investment for people doing that, they find that very much now because it's a differentiator when you're selling your home if you are going to do it too.
And now, when you said that the homeowner of this garage had a lot of stuff in there, did you have their blessing to get rid of the stuff, or did they put it in storage?
Yeah, no, well, actually,
and have another garage.
Yeah, any garage makeover, part of it is okay. What are we going to store and what are we going to get rid of? And that's hard for a lot of people. It's hard to part with those things. The garage is the room of denial for the most part. There's a lot of counseling. So we had to go through and say, what are you willing to get rid of? And then what are we going to keep in this place? So after we got through that, then we were able to crank and get some progress done.
So you kind of had to be the bad guy a little bit, huh?
Sure. You have to make a decision. People are like, oh, I've stored that for 40 years. I'm like, have you used it in the last 6 years? No. Okay, well, then let's consider getting rid of it, selling it, or finding a place for storage if you really want to keep it.
And so how much stuff? Was it like a whole big, mobile home?
It was bad. You couldn't walk in some of the space. Yeah, it was some of it was 30 years of stuff. It was pretty bad.
Well, not to point fingers, I think a lot of us are guilty of that. How's your garage right now?
It's clean.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's clean. My wife makes me do that.
Oh,
though.
Really?
Yeah.
She makes you?
Oh, sure. That's usually the case. The wives, even though it's typically thought of the man's realm, the wives are saying, "Hey, honey, you are a slob. Get this thing cleaned up." Those are the people who are calling us because it needs organization.
Well, the garage, I mean, when you see this, I mean, what do we call it? The Carriage House?
Yes, the Carriage House.
It really is. It almost is like a house.
It's the chauffeur's den.
And so when you see all of the possibilities, I think that kind of pumps you up and makes you go, you know what? What the hell am I doing? I mean, I could have this.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's very attainable. I mean, it's simple in concept. There's a lot of work that went into it, but most people don't realize what they have. There's a gem attached to their home that they really don't use at all.
And has the homeowner given you a reaction or response?
Yeah, no, he loves it. He loves his welding station, everything. I mean, a lot of the designers there, or even the people at the showcase, this is the first year in the 46 years they've ever done the garage. So it's kind of a new nuance to them to be able to see this garage makeover. So I think the homeowner's very happy.
Mm-hmm. And is he a handy guy? Does he like to putz around in the garage? Yeah.
This was the room he focused on. He said, I want to make sure that I have my welding station. I need to still work. I'm like, okay, we'll make sure it works. So
wait till Norm Abram from This Old House gets a look at this, you know?
Exactly.
But it is nice. I mean, and it looks like, does the lady of the house like it? I mean, can she kind of hang? Because I think that's important, too, to have a garage where it's kind of a his and her thing, too.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. You can't alienate. It's a space where you can come in and entertain.
Mm-hmm.
You
can come in and entertain. I mean, I guess you can,
Yeah, the refrigerator, you have the wine cooler, the TV. It's a space where you can just expand. It's an indoor-outdoor environment. So if there's inclement weather or anything like that, you can actually have parties and anything in there.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And it's a slumber party, I'm thinking.
It's a slumber party.
In that loft.
Not gonna
All
leave
right, well, still ahead. If you are thinking about making over your garage, what do you plan for? From the flooring to the shelving to all those great toys that can truly make that space more than storage or a place to park the garage, but maybe your own little personal getaway. If you'd like to know more about it, you have a question, you're welcome to call on in, 888-539-2980, 888-539-2980. I'm Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards. Back after this.
Don't talk back.
Okay, quick question. Now, you got to be honest. Where are your yearbooks? Are they in the garage? Can you find them? How about the hammer? You know where I'm going with this. Can you find the stuff that's probably all just, stacked up in the garage? I'm there too, so don't worry. Cindy Dole, Home Wizards, and, this is more than just cleaning out the garage. This is then putting it back together and making it almost like a dream space. Jaime Dietenhoffer with Garage Envy has turned this 3-car garage that you will see at the Pasadena Showcase House into, well, really a garage of envy because it looks almost like a chalet,
Yeah, exactly.
So Jaime, you got to be very proud of it.
It's a great space. Very proud.
Yeah. And we figured that something like that could cost around $30,000-$40,000.
Sure.
Right. So for those of us who may go, whoa, that's a little bit much right now, where do we just first start as we're looking at our garage? And, okay, let's say we know we have to deal with the clutter. Okay, assuming we've dealt with the clutter. But now, how do we put it all back together and make it something that's going to work for us?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is to decide what you ultimately want that space for. If it's going to be car storage, if it's going to be just basic storage, if it's going to be a kid's place, an office. So you need to make that decision because there's a lot of directions you can go. Once you get to that point, you can go on, like our website, we have an idea center. You get ideas because people have no clue what the garage can be. And I think that's the first thing is decide what the ultimate use is going to be. And after that, you can start having some fun and thinking about what the design of the garage would be that you would like to emulate.
Does it feel like... in spite of the economy, the economy is getting a little bit better. Are you feeling
Sure.
it's getting better?
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's when people were flipping homes and just putting paint on the exterior and getting rid of them. We were busy, but now it's even busier when people were setting root. People are saying, I have to deal with this space now, and so we've been busier than ever. Yeah,
and people are most likely going to turn their garage into a what? I mean, do you have kind of like the top 3?
Sure.
Types of garages that people are more likely to choose?
Yeah, I mean, people really want to park in the garage. I mean, people want to get their cars inside and not park them on the street.
So that's the basic.
Yeah, that's the basic. The HOA, they need to park them inside. And I think the second is basic organization. People are embarrassed of the garage. I think we have the only business where people are afraid when we come to the door and they say, I'm embarrassed. I don't want you to see it. So it's getting past that because it's a mess. And then I'd say third, we do a lot of more and more now themed garages, themed spaces because it's a neat design space that no one's really dealt with yet.
I mean, it could be anything.
Anything you want. Yeah, people have a lot more freedom with the garage. The home, you have to see it every single day, but the garage, you have a little bit more freedom, and they want to take a little bit more risk with that space.
Now, can anyone do anything with their garage? Aren't there certain rules in terms of what you can do to your garage? Or
sure. I mean, you have to, if you're going to be converting into a living space, there's
Yeah.
issues and permit issues that to address. But for the most part, as long as you can still park a car in there if you needed to, if you kept the garage doors on, you can really do anything in that space.
And garage doors,
Yeah,
oh my
garage doors.
gosh, they're beautiful. I mean, I've seen some that are glass, and they look like, a mansion front door.
Absolutely.
The sky's the limit there.
Yeah, it's the front door of your home typically,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are not working or falling down. So you can make a big impression, and for the cost, the ROI of what you get back on that curb appeal is huge.
So do you work with a garage door company, or is that also something
Yeah,
you guys...
we do garage doors as well. In this space, in the showcase home, those were falling off, so we actually rebuilt them because they
you
were
did?
antique. But yeah, brand new doors, motors, you can definitely spruce up that space easily.
Well, I think that so many of us are really in garage misery.
Yeah, yeah,
You
a lot of
know?
people, yeah, 65 million garages out there in the country, so there's a lot of them that are a mess.
Uh-huh. And you've worked with Jay Leno.
Yes.
Who, we know him for his fancy schmancy garage with his website, and you see his cars. But the truth of the matter is his personal garage that was on the show Garage Mahal, right?
Sure.
And you guys participated in that. I hear that he gets these blue denim shirts from everybody who's ever watched the show, and he can't part with them.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was
Right?
that was on the show. It was tough to get rid of that stuff. I
So
mean,
he's a bit of a collector,
I would say a collector. Yes,
to put it nicely.
absolutely. And to get him to part with that, so we said, okay, we're going to get rid of this space. But at the end of the day, Jay, it's going to be a beautiful space, and the icing on the cake is that you can actually park your nice cars in this garage, which he was unable to do at his home.
And you used a porcelain tile?
Yeah,
It's
Italian porcelain tile.
A non-scratch.
Yeah, the nice thing about the Italian porcelain, it's a dense tile, so you can park cars on it.
It looks, again, looks like your kitchen or something. I mean, it's beautiful.
Sure, it's a really nice finish, easy to clean and maintain. So it's not just beautiful, but it's functional. And we put a turntable in there, so he's able to pull his car in.
Right.
It turns around for him.
He has kind of a tricky driveway to get to his
steep driveway. So we had to accommodate that with almost like a record player turntable.
Sounds very James Bond.
It's very James Bond. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't cheap, I'm sure.
No, that was a major remodel. For him. 2 floors.
Bet.
Yeah.
And then you have these great cabinets. Talk about that. I mean, because, again, there are so many terrific creative ways that you can store things and conceal things and make it just you. I mean, you made this beautiful wooden cabinetry for him where he has all the, bins and things where he's got his junk hidden away.
We organize it. I mean, that was part of it. We basically go in with customers and organize their lives. You were talking about yearbooks earlier, or pictures or things like that. And they're in this environment where they're dusty and exposed to weathered environments.
Not very smart on our part, is it?
No.
Yeah.
So, getting them in the nice Tupper bins, labeling them, having cubic storage space so you can do that. But the exterior was raised panel, alder that we stained. But you can also do something very functional. It can be a basic, white flat panel cabinet that you can store stuff. It doesn't have to be this blown out garage. I mean, people can really do this cost effectively and have that space organized.
What about turning your garage into a home office?
Sure.
Are you getting a lot of those requests as we're working from home? And
a
maybe
lot more.
Yeah. So how could we do that?
Well, the first thing to think about is it a weatherproof environment? So your garage door. If you're going to be using the garage door consistently, you need to make sure that everything is sealed, weatherproofing the windows, and then after that, you can start going through thermoregulating it for the heat and the cooling, and you don't want any moisture in there if you have electronics. So that's something other rooms don't have to deal with, but the garage you really have to be aware of.
And then in terms of the flooring material for the home office, what would you recommend in the garage again?
In the garage, you have to put down a vapor seal on the concrete before you deal with anything. Inside the home, that's standard. And a lot of the new homes have to have a vapor seal by permit. But now we go through and put down a vapor sealant. You can put down carpet. You can put down tile. You can put down even wood flooring like we did on the TV show. It's something where you can make that room into anything.
And lighting, could you open up, almost have a sunlight?
Absolutely.
A skylight if you wanted?
We do skylights, like the solar lights.
Yeah.
You can also do the new windows. I think mainly you want to stay away from the fluorescents that everyone's used
Yeah.
to. I mean, that the fluorescents are just kind of the standard garage light, but you can get a lot more. There's a lot of products out there.
More energy efficient.
Absolutely.
Too. And you were saying, speaking of energy efficient, that Ed Begley is doing something with you guys?
Yeah, he came out halfway through this project. We did his garage, the green garage, and a lot of the components you use can be environmentally safe, and also we did a lot of adaptive reuse of the space. So he's going to come out and hopefully give us his green stamp at the end of this.
At the showcase house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Are people asking for a green garage? I mean,
More
I
and
wouldn't
more.
even think of that.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
there's the green garage, but a lot of the times families just want an environment that is safe. So it doesn't have to do with the green side of it. They want something that isn't harmful.
Fumes and so forth.
Fumes, exactly. And to make sure that stuff isn't off-gassing, because a lot of things, oils, paints, solvents that are in the garage or that are used to remodel garages are typically harmful.
Well, especially if you are going to share your garage with your car, and like one half is your quote unquote now home office, and you're there with your car with all those fumes, I guess I'd worry about it too.
Absolutely. Proper ventilation, thermostatic fans, exhaust fans, those things are very important if you're going to inhabit the space where your car is going to be.
It can be done.
Absolutely. We do it all the time.
And I bet there's a way of going in and almost having some kind of a meter to see that there's an unsafe condition, right?
There's meters to test all of that, so to make sure it's safe for you to be in.
Okay. Workshop, storage, home office.
Anything you want it to be.
Yoga.
Sure. We did a dojo, the whole thing. Anything you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Playroom.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Fitness center, you name it.
You can just dream with it.
I love it. All right. Well, your website is garagenv.com,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
And we'll see you at the Showcase House.
You got it, Cindy.
We'll just say hi to Jaime Dietenhoffer over there at the three-car garage. You can't miss it. It's right there to the left of the house in the front.
Yep.
And a cool, thank you. High five.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Cindy.
you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, coming up as we segue into hour 2, the fun continues. We're going to talk with a couple more fabulous designers. How to really find your design style. And then later, what about that princess of the house? Yes, she gets to have a great room, too. Home wizard Cindy Dole. Hour 2 coming your way after this.
Screaming like never